So hello, my name is Daniela Pascual Esparza. I am from Ecuador and Spain, but I am currently living in Helsinki in Finland, where I'm finishing a degree in live art and performance studies. And I mostly work site-specifically or site-orientedly. I have a background in urban studies, so that's why also it's a natural place for me to start. And I'm mostly working with intimacy or how to facilitate experiences for other people to spend time in places. Well, what brought me to Copenhagen was really discovering the Metropolis Festival that combines this performance and art in public space. So it was for me a really gentle and friendly framework to revisit and to think about my desire of bridging these two worlds and how I understand this. So I arrived to Metropolis with one question, which is what is the relationship between inhabiting and mapping? Inhabiting is, yes, living in a place, spending time in a place, the sort of relationship that comes when you spend repetitive amount of times in a certain place, but also inhabiting the moment, just how your presence in a new place. And mapping, I was associating it more with urban diagnosis and making an assessment and evaluation. So I've been mostly looking at green spaces in the city, mostly in Sydhavn in the south, and then in Nordhavn Stippen. So yes, there's more where there's a less planned green spaces, more wild nature or urban nature. So for my final presentation, for the final trace, I invited the group to join me in Nordhavn Stippen. So in Nordhavn, it's this green area by the sea. And I prepared a series of booklets, two booklets actually. One was to be experienced by the sea and one along the paths of this green space. And it was just an invitation to be there and allow other subjectivities or your perception to unfold and to connect with that space, so just to spend time there. And my desire to do that, or why I did that, is how do you share somehow that puts you into motion. So in the booklet that I shared, I didn't share my experience of the place, but based on an experience that I had there, or findings that encounters that I had by spending time there and entering this more state of presence or connection with a place, I asked myself, how do you open up this to someone else, or how do you kind of put together a series of strategies that might allow someone else to open up or to concentrate and be present in a space. So it had to do a lot with imagining a spot where that person might be, with inviting the person to become aware of the surroundings, of spending the time there, but also to connect with their body. So I usually also have very simple bodily exercises or that have to do with grounding yourself. At the core of it is that for me it's about how we imagine space. It's allowing other possibilities of imagining space that have to do with being there sometimes effectively and sensorially. So I'm guessing. I'm always guessing and trying. It's an invitation. It's just when you invite someone to a party or it's to join you. It's more about, and there's a bit of, in the writing, I'm a bit inspired sometimes in these oracle writings that, they hint to something, but they don't tell you what to do or what you should focus on. So it's a bit this indirect writing sometimes. I was exploring something very initial in my research process, so it's not really something for a final piece yet, but I'm exploring alternative tools of mapping and that I would like to specifically perhaps share with urban planners. And I think it was really interesting to know what are these contested spaces also in the city, and what are the debates that are taking on, also the struggles and the discussions. So in that sense, I think that in this month, although I have of course many things to discover about Copenhagen still, I got to know entry points about like the framework and the life of the city right now. So it's something like, if I had more time, of course, I could really land something. Yes, perhaps one of the major revelations is it's more internal. It's how to learn how to pace your process and to know at what moment of your process you are, because I came with an idea that it's still there, that I still want to carry out. But knowing that, it's at the very beginning, so I shouldn't force things, or I shouldn't rush things, and just to focus with what you have at the moment and let things be and unfold at their own time. So I'm really happy to have been here. I think it was a great setting to be able to be here for a month, and that it's combining this living with other people and living in the city and exploring the city. I don't know, I think it was really somehow like a gift for me. It was really this kind of what was one of the most exciting things was that I was outside a place where I live and also with people that I don't know, and that we managed to create something together, and not so much necessarily the collaborations that take place in the traces, but outside, with living together, sharing about your practices late at night in the kitchen or early when you're having breakfast. And for me, that's really something that is very precious and that doesn't happen all the time. So I think Metropolis really allowed this to happen, and I think it's amazing to have met 7 other artists that are working in similar things but with their own approach. So thank you.